Hey guys, it's me, producer Ross, and welcome to another edition of the My ITFC feature. Today I'm joined, and I'm honoured to be joined by Izzy Minter. How are you doing during these strange and weird times we're living in?
I'm doing all right. I've very much got used to it now. But there's still strange parts to it. But yeah, I'm doing good. Working from home today, so all good. From a young age, I was kind of never really into football, into sport really at all. Really, I kind of other things I kind of prefer to do. And then a friend of my dad had 2 tickets to a game, and he couldn't make it, so he just kind of said, "Do you want these tickets?" And my dad thought he'd take me along, and yeah, that's how I just got into it. I remember I think my first memory of football is, when you walk up the steps and you just start to see a little bit more of the stadium around you. And I just remember I think it was a night game, I think so, or there's definitely the floodlights one, so it might have been like a winter type game. And I just remember looking out and you just see the pitch and you can hear like the crowd and people talking amongst them. And I just remember thinking, this is amazing. Like, this is awesome. This is how have I never been to a place like this before? And just from there, just the whole kind of atmosphere and just people kind of being together and watching this game, it just kind of got me hooked. And pretty much went to my dad, I want to go again, I want to keep going. And he gave me a season ticket, I think, to shut me up from asking him constantly if we could go. And yeah, just from there I was just hooked. And because it was Ipswich Town, that was the team I picked, because I felt like after that I couldn't pick another team. Like, that would be wrong. I couldn't do that at all.
Can you remember the team Town were playing, and the year and the score and all that? Okay, that's good. Yeah.
I did a little bit of research just because I was like, the thing I remember it was I remember the 2 goal scorers. So it was Marcus Bent and John McGrill, and they were both headers at opposite ends. And then I looked it up, and it was the year that we actually went down. So I don't want to be the bad omen, but it might be me, because we did get relegated that year. So it was in 2002 against Spurs, and yeah, we won. It was John McGrew header that won the game for us. But so yeah, that was my first game that I went to. I've seen a couple of down, and people like, we don't kind of have that all-time favorite, no one else type player. There's like a few players that I remember watching and just kind of really loved watching at that time. So the first one that came to mind was Pablo Canhago. I think for me, he would be kind of up there top, just because it was my favorite team, which I know we'll get onto, was when he was in that team, we were kind of scoring all the time. The things that he did, I remember that goal against Charlton, the back heel. Just seeing that on it wasn't there, but seeing that on TV, just kind of be like, why would you think to back heel from the edge of the box? There's like little things like that. So I think when I was thinking about who would be my favorite player, he was kind of number one. But I also really like Tommy Miller, because he, again, I think I just really like people who could score goals, because that was usually win us the game. So I just went for the glory part of it. Matt Hollands as captain, he was always just like brilliant. He wasn't around from like most time that I've watched, but I always just remember kind of really enjoying watching him. And then seeing kind of Darren Bent growing up, and kind of when he first got in the first team, and then just seeing how well he progressed to obviously then get his move. So probably those ones I'd say, but I don't have an all-time favourite.
Now we'll move on to favourite Town manager. It seems you had the back end of George Burley, but you're very young when you're watching. Then Joe Royle, Jim Magilton. Of course, you would have watched him play as a player. So and then of course the rest, which great. But
I haven't picked one of the rest.
No. So which one is for you?
Joe Royle for me, hands down. Best manager that I've seen. I mean, just because of the teams, like the team that we had, it was that kind of all scoring. Yes, our defense wasn't the greatest, but it doesn't matter when you're like, we'd have like that 6-4 against Crewe, just these crazy games where you just go away from, and then you were entertained. So you're just his team. Like when he left, I remember actually being like really sad when he left, because I was like, because it kind of saw then the breakdown of that team, and just yeah, it was just not great at all. But I just loved watching that Joe Royle team. So he would definitely be my favourite manager.
Cool.
The rest since, I mean, yeah, you can't. I mean, we don't need to go into that.
No, yeah. So, lots of dark times. Yeah.
The standout one was when we played Sheffield United at home, and they went 2-0 up.
Of course.
Kanyako sent off. I think that was just before half time, or maybe just after, but they were 2-0 up. It was against Neil Warnock, Sheffield United, and you just really want to beat them just because it's Sheffield United and Neil Warnock. And then we got those 3 goals. It was 2 Downs, Ben Ambrose, and then Marcus Spence as well, like that combination. And I just, when that 3rd goal went in, it was crazy. I think I remember calling my brother for some reason, and just, he didn't hear a word I said. He couldn't, because the crowd was so loud, but I just decided to call him because, why not? And be just like, I tell him that we'd won 3-2. It was weird, but I think that game more than anything stood out. I can remember it so much now in my mind. So I think that over any game is definitely the most memorable for me. My favourite goal that I've seen live was Darren Bent's header. It was a winner against Wigan, and I'm pretty sure that put us top of the league. Pretty sure that did. And I just remember being in the North Stand. I was with my brother, and it was definitely towards kind of Christmas time. It was freezing cold. I remember being really cold, and it was really foggy. And I just remember it going in, and just again, for me, it's just the crowd. Everyone was just so I don't know. Obviously, everyone's just so happy, and just the place was electric. And so it wasn't the best goal ever, but for what it was at that moment in time, it was just brilliant. And then my favorite goal that I've kind of heard on the radio was the Richard Chaplow winner against Watford. And then I remember, because I was working, so I wasn't able to see the game or get to it, but I remember hearing it and just going mental myself and going crazy, and then seeing it on TV later, and just seeing the away end and audio. I always remember the inflatables and the away end, and just everything. That was the best bit. It was the inflatables, and just seeing all the player reaction, everything. Definitely, that was one of the favorite goals that unfortunately I didn't get to see live, but I heard it and then I saw it, and it was just brilliant. So So it'd be my first ever one. So it was the Green King one. So I think it was when I got it. I'll start that again. So my favourite kit would be the Green King kit. I think it would have been obviously around kind of 2002, 2001 time. Because I think it's the one that we wore in the Premier League, and it had a collar, and I really liked the collar because I used to just put my collar up. I don't know why. It's one of those stupid things, but that was and I had so that was my first kit and my favourite kit since, because I don't know, we went through a period of time where we just didn't have a decent kit that I just didn't really like. It's got a bit better, but that was, I think I'll always go with the first one that I ever had, because that was the one I think I was felt really proud walking around in. So the Green King kit with the collar. Any of the defeats to Norwich, the countless defeats, and I mean I've got a worse one, because I said the one that we don't really like to talk about at all, but the 5-1, that was horrible. Oh man, I just remember being there. It was just, I don't think it could have got any worse against Norwich. We just haven't beaten them in ages, but that 5-1, it was just horrible. It was just, there's literally nothing good about it. I remember just being in the worst mood ever afterwards. I mean, I imagine quite a lot of people would say that one, I'm guessing.
A few people have,
But that one for me. I haven't got the words to talk about it. It was that bad. So definitely that one.
That season they thrashed us at Carrow Road as well, didn't they? So it was a terrible year. We still haven't beaten them.
I know. We've been close. That one, what is it? The one
Chambers
ago.
like late. We thought, God, we're here, and we're still celebrating. The like we finally won, and then you just look and go, no, where you going, Bart? And then
we had that game live, and I was producing it from the studio, and it was the whole time I was like, obviously I'm working, but I'm like so nervous, and we score, and I just like trying to keep it in, but I'm like, yes. And then we concede, and I just was like, oh no, what are we doing?
Yeah,
we can't even see this one through. And I remember just working. It was just kind of like, oh man, we just can't even like concede it. But so maybe that one would be like my second. It's not the worst. Like, we still drew, at least we didn't lose. But yeah, it was that wasn't great. Maybe one day we'll beat them again one day, surely.
We need to be in the same league first, but yeah.
I know. That as well. Again, I don't have one best moment, because any old time I've supported them, like kind of properly supported them, we got relegated. We've been relegated twice. We've never been promoted in that time. We never really had a cup run. So I've got none of those kind of, moments when I've seen them like lift any trophies. So I was kind of thinking about moments, and I just think just being at away games, and I was trying to think about kind of what's been my favorite away days. I've seen most of the games that I've been in London, and I remember a couple of seasons ago, trying to think when we played Fulham, and it was on Valentine's Day, and we played them away at Craven Cottage. And I remember we had the whole end packed out, and it was when we were also going well at the time, and we scored an early goal. I think it was Daryl Murphy. I think we scored in like the first couple of minutes. We got an early goal, and that just kind of set it off, and everybody was just like really happy. And everyone, I think we used to do the thing where we used to bounce up and down. And I remember it was just such a great time, just being like with friends. And I also saw a few people who I'd been to school with, who I hadn't seen ages, so it kind of felt like I was bumping into people who I hadn't seen for a while. And we ended up winning the game 2-1 in usual kind of Ipswich Town style. We conceded towards the end to make it a bit nervy, but we held on for the win. And it was just, I think it was just everything that day. It was just a really nice day. It was a really good game, and just the atmosphere amongst the town fans were really good. And I think kind of like best moments for me have been those where you're kind of, just those away days when the atmosphere has just been great within the away end. So I picked one of those. I picked that game, but I've also had like, we beat Millwall. I think it was in the cup. It was one of the games we beat Millwall. That was a really good atmosphere. Charlton, I've always had a really good time when we went to Charlton. So those games mainly kind of stand out as best moments, but I haven't had one in particular yet. I'm hoping, we might have one where we get promotion or something like that. So I'm still waiting for my best moment. I don't want to have one yet. It's still to come, I see, hopefully.